Good morning. Welcome to my Facebook Live. Uh, Hope you're doing well. Uh, I have a online speech that I need to give in a few weeks, so I'm just gonna go over my topic and try to flesh the idea out. Hopefully, you find it of value for myself. I this particular topic resonates for me because I find it has impacts me almost every day of my life. What it is clear communication. And what I find that when you tell someone something, they may not necessarily understand or interpret the idea behind your message the same way that you do, right? So, for example, many times where I've had team meetings or or I've participated in one where action items are assigned. And this is pretty common, right? At the end of the meeting, people are given takeaways with tasks to do, and what we need is to take responsibility and take that task and make sure it gets done, right? That's usually what action item requires of you. What I've encountered is that when that person's given, some people when they get that action item, they understand it from a different perspective. They understand it from their point of view. So let me think of an example that I need someone to go and write me a set of instructions on how to make coffee. Okay, that should be pretty clear, correct? But if you think about it, based on a person's experiences, they can be interpreted in different ways. So, for example, when you say how to make coffee, does that mean make it using instant coffee, or do I need to grind beans? Or it could even possibly just buy it or ask someone else to buy it. So, one of the things with communicating to another person is that you need to be very clear. It could be a matter of saying things in a manner that you're using that is very neutral or unbiased, or in some manner, or using terminology that the other person understands. But the challenge there is, again, you're using words, and everybody has different interpretations of words. And I keep talking about people having different interpretations. It's because last week I talked about cognitive bias, where that you have a belief system based on your own experiences, your knowledge, that you perceive things in a certain way, and this influences how you act and how you think and how you behave. This also impacts how you interpret messages, right? How you give a message as well as how you receive a message. Using that coffee example, if all my life I've only used instant coffee, if you ask me to write a set of instructions to make coffee, I'm gonna tell you to use instant coffee. But the person that asked me to do it, maybe their expectation is write me instructions on how to use whole coffee beans. So in the case of this example, again, you need to be absolutely clear about what you're asking for. And with you can give them facts and you can give them information, but people tend to, if it's too much, people tend to glaze over it or just don't process it very, very efficiently. Right? With short instructions, sure, it could work. Many of us do it. But what I'm trying to get at is that many people don't realize that a lot of people see things through different lenses, through different filters, right? And when they make decisions, when they make choices, when they do something, it's based on emotion. It's like, wait a minute, shouldn't be making decisions based on facts and information? Of course, right? If there's facts to back up why you should be doing a certain thing or act a certain way, or whatever the case may be, we should be using the facts, right? It's unbiased. It's neutral. It's real. But the thing is, when we make decisions, we are heavily, heavily influenced by our emotions. So here's another example. If someone were to tell me that apples are the healthiest food in the world, that you need to eat one every day, it's in the best interest of your health, and science and all these studies back it up, they're absolutely could be absolutely right. But for myself, based on my experiences, if for some reason I hate apples, I dislike the taste, maybe somehow I went through some sort of apple trauma, regardless of what you tell me, I won't eat that apple, right? If because of my experience, my own set of knowledge, I'm making that judgment based on my emotion. I hate apples, right? An emotion, right? So regardless of the facts you tell me, if the emotions are clouding my judgment, whatever you say is not going to sway me, right? Maybe one day I would switch choices, but again, what my example is trying to get at is that emotion plays a heavy role in how people make decisions, how they act, and how they behave. Okay, what does this have to do with communication or being aligned? When you communicate with someone, one method of getting your message across is to use storytelling. Right? Why should we use storytelling? Well, people resonate. Almost everyone resonates with stories. What would you prefer? Someone feeding you facts and information. They have a PowerPoint or some sort of slide deck, just like slide after slide of facts and data and diagrams and pictures. Like, would you be able to remember all that information? Would it convince you to do something if you were sitting there, maybe for an extremely long amount of time, and your attention span is going to drop, and there's no connection there with the facts that are being given to you? It's very dry, right? Whereas with the story, the purpose of a story is to build that emotional connection, right? Which is what the core of communication is as well. You're building a connection, an emotional connection with another person, right? And when you have that emotional connection, the ability to sway and to persuade and to influence increases dramatically, right? So storytelling works for also different types of learners as well. There's people that are more auditory. There's more that are more use visual, and there's people that are more kinesthetic, which is means that they learn better through experience and doing something. So a story can provide all of that to all these different types of learners. You could tell a story orally. You could tell a story through written word. A story invokes emotion. So these things appeal to all these different types of learners. Whereas, facts and information, not necessarily so. With the story, again, your ability to persuade and influence through emotion is high. And I said that because a lot of people make their decisions, the way they act and behave, based on their emotions. It's what makes stories a great tool for people to communicate their message. Well, in a business or corporate setting, you might be wondering, well, telling a story. I don't have time to tell a long story to someone. There's different types of stories, and one of the types I use a lot is an analogy. Right? An analogy is a very short form of a story for you to provide another perspective, a different way to see a situation or scenario through the use of a story. So, for example, as a manager, your job is to help your team develop and grow their career. So to use an analogy, I would say it's like a parent that wants to be able to raise their child, to be able to teach them and give them experiences so that they grow up to be productive individuals. Right? So that's an example of an analogy. You want to find an analogy that hopefully connects with the other person, that it resonates with them, and you want to build that emotional connection. Right? When you have that emotional connection again, you're able to persuade and influence people to learn a new idea or skills or correct their behavior. So that's why I'm saying that stories is a very strong tool for you to be able to communicate your message. And if a person is able to understand what the intention or the gist of your message is, you and that other person are aligned. Because if you are both not aligned, you'll never meet and be able to understand the message by me telling you one message and with certain intentions or with a goal in mind. And if the other person doesn't understand that, that message will never get across the way the sender intended it to. We want to be able to ensure that we are aligned, right? So that we understand, we have a common understanding of the message so that things can be accomplished, right? A message can be transferred. People can be given enough information to make good judgments or good decisions. So when it comes to storytelling, again, it's a very strong tool for you to build that connection with that other person in order to influence, persuade, and convey your intentions to that other person. It's very easy to just regurgitate facts and information to another person, but when it comes to people who are in leadership roles, especially, you need to be able to inspire as well. And spouting out facts and information is not going to move someone emotionally. So, as a leader, you're talking about what do you mean by inspire? You need to be able to motivate your team, your company, right? The individuals around you. So, a very common example of that is vision and mission statements, right? Where do you want to go, right? What is your ideal end state? There may not necessarily be an end, but something to shoot for, something to aim for as a team, as a company. You could tell someone that it's the goal of your company to reduce carbon emissions to almost 0%. But if people don't understand why you want to do that, they may not care. Maybe in this case, the personal story is that carbon emissions are very important to you because I have a child who has asthma and they have a very hard time breathing because of the pollution in the air. And I want to be able to reduce the pollutants, and I want my child to grow up healthy and to be able to breathe clean air. That's why it's very important to me to have our company reduce and eliminate carbon emissions. So again, that's another way to inspire through telling a story that people understand and are emotionally connected to why you are telling them this message, right? Why you're asking them to come with you on this mission to achieve this vision. Leaders have a lot of responsibilities, and whether it be again developing and growing your employees or guiding a team to achieve certain goals, working with customers to complete a sale. There's a lot of things they need to do, but I feel that one of the core skills they need in order to do this is communication. Like I have a couple characteristics I feel that are very important for leaders to be successful. Communications is one of them. Building trust and relationships is another. And I feel that all of these are interrelated. Without communication, you're not going to build that connection. And if you don't have a connection, you'll never trust. And if you don't trust someone, you'll never have a relationship with them. So, again, one of the core skills and characteristics a leader needs is to have strong communication. And what I'm trying to say is that storytelling is one of those tools that can help you be a better communicator so that you're able to convince and convey information or ask someone to do something, right? So, communication, again, through storytelling, is an effective manner or effective way to do this, right? So, storytelling. Storytelling's not just for children. Storytelling, everybody loves stories, right? You probably watch a lot of movies or read, books, maybe listen to podcasts. They all present the form of a story, and we're all engrossed with it. It keeps our interest. Effective stories actually are ones that grab hold of someone's attention by and establish some sort of tension, right? And people want to find out what happens, like how does this tension get released? They want to find out what happens, right? So think about that when you're trying to tell a story. Like you want to entice and bring in that person. Yes, for myself, I mentioned that I make use of a lot of analogies when I tell stories. Again, just because of the situations I'm in, when dealing with team members, I don't always have the time to tell very long stories. So in order to make the best use of my time and to be efficient, I use a lot of analogies. And the tip here is to try to find one that your your audience member or the person receiving your message or you're talking to can relate to, right? So, for example, make sure that if you're making cultural references that the other person understands. That maybe very simple example that I make an analogy using baseball. If the other person is not interested in sports or know what baseball is, it won't work. So you have to again know your audience. That's a term I repeat to a lot of people. Is like always know your audience in whatever you do. Okay, so hopefully that topic resonated with you and brought you some sort of value. Again, I'm gonna be speaking on an online event at the end of the month on June 29th. I'll be posting information on my various social media channels. So if you are interested, hopefully you can join me. There'll be other speakers there. Again, it's an opportunity for everyone to get people together to and provide, hopefully, information and stories and other types of things that people will find useful and can motivate and inspire. Yeah, hopefully you can join me. Again, thanks for listening. Um, I had fun doing it, and it helps me flesh out the ideas and the thoughts in my head about what I'll be speaking to in at the end of the month. So hopefully you have a great day. Take care, and I'll see you soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about uh, any challenges you may need and how I can help you. Hopefully I can steer you in the right direction or provide you some comfort and clarity in terms of helping you with your challenge. So please reach out to me. I'm available through my various social media channels. You can email me. All right. So take care. Thank you. Have a good day.